Okay, earlier I said I was going to mention or talk to you a little about Ed Gein, and that's what I'm going to do here. So we've already talked about the disorganized asocial offender. I'm going to kind of give you a brief rundown why Ed Gein fits into that category. So I know he was part of a video that you were able to watch earlier in the semester. So reminders here: Ed Gein was what? He was schizophrenic. He had hallucinations, both auditory and visual hallucinations. Especially, they manifested themselves more so after his mother's death. He still had some symptoms of it, previously, but so he was having those issues. He was a loner type of personality anyway. He uh, had some obviously mental health issues, like I just alluded to. He um, was in an area where even if he wanted to be, if you want to say more social and travel, whatever, he couldn't because he was in more of a rural area in Plainfield, Wisconsin. So all those factors combined kind of helped me to determine that Ed Gein was a uh, disorganized asocial offender. Also, there was no sexual gratification that came from what he did. Uh, he uh, he didn't torture anybody. And that's another thing. Disorganized asocial offenders tend to not be torturers. Um, they may do sexual, you know, acts, with people who are either unconscious. That's something else I didn't mention and forgot during the other presentations. But just remember that, like I said, I mentioned being tied up or something that something that incapacitates someone is what fits into a disorganized asocial offender. So that could be unconscious, could be blindfolded, could be tied up. So that is not necessarily what Ed Gein did, but keep that in mind for disorganized asocial offenders. Ed Gein himself, though, didn't really plan out his murders. He didn't have very many, so he barely fits as a serial killer because all these bodies, the majority of the bodies he had were bodies he dug up. But he did have post mortem, in essence, after death, cutting of the bodies as he would take the skin off or different things like that, cut noses off, different parts, whatever, right? So, he had boxes of noses under a bed, or at least in a box. He made lampshades out of skin. He tried to make a skin suit of some type, not necessarily what you and I would consider a suit. It was not because he was trying to be a woman, which some people were like, oh, was is transvestite or whatever. No, if anything, he was trying to connect more with his mother. But there was another interesting thing, another interesting part of his life, and this is where the connection comes in, is that when he was younger, both he and his brother, which later on, it's debatable about whether he killed his brother or not. But either way, when he and his brother were younger, they were told, because his family had hogs or pigs, he said, "Oh, whenever we're out there slaughtering, you can't come out where we are." So, no, he wasn't supposed to be there. But one day he went out, and he and his mother and father were out slaughtering pigs, and they think that there was a connection somewhere along the lines with him seeing them butcher the pigs and having the blood and the fact that, if you want to call it the skin or the flesh of the pigs and everything else. That is what ultimately, when he ended up trying to go dig up these different women, um, or later on killed one of them. But either way, that's what in his mind they believe that he might have been putting those two things together: the memory of his mother, and also the the slaughtering of those hogs, to where that's what part of the reason why he cut the skin off and things like that of the deceased people. So of the women specifically. So that's something else to consider. Let's see. Yeah, he wasn't exactly social. People thought he was weird, but not, but didn't really do much about it. Didn't think a whole lot about it. So that's essentially what kind of makes me believe, and other people, that Ed Gein would be considered a disorganized asocial offender. So now that we've talked about that, I do want to talk about a few other things while I have you here. So don't leave just yet, because it is important. First of all, don't forget, if you haven't done already, do put up your decide on who you're going to do your presentation, and then actually put it in the discussion board where it belongs. Okay, because if it's not on that specific discussion board, it doesn't count, and you need to pick someone that no one else has, um, because everyone's going to have someone different. Um, Also, soon, I haven't assigned it yet, but be aware there will be a. I think this is a fun assignment to be able to investigate or research these people and decide what category they fall into and what type they fall into. So remember, what we're talking about right now with organized and disorganized, that's going to be your categories. Okay. But what I need for you to do is, keep these things in mind. First of all, soon you're going to be having an assignment to where you're going to be handing me or submitting to me a type of outline. Okay, you need to submit an outline to me about your presentation that you're going to be making. Okay, don't read whenever you have your outline. Don't read the outline to me, because I'm going to have it in front of me. I can read, but give me more information about that individual. What makes you think? What you do about their particular category and type, and also. Um, Something else about that is, if you're worried about, oh, I wonder what he's going to use for like grading rubric or whatever, easy way to take care of that is to look at the list of things I specifically tell you uh, to make sure you tell me, and things that you need to be kind of looking at, being aware of, whatever. They're all listed. It's not bullet points, but it's pretty close to. If you touch on all of those, you won't have any problem meeting the time requirement. You won't have any problem with meeting a grading requirement, as long as you hit those points and you're not reading to me. Tell me, talk to me like I am right now. I'm talking to you, not reading from a script or anything like that. Just tell me about this individual. Okay. So, or a couple of you have couples or groups. So, either way, I just thought I'd tell you about that. Make sure you do your reading. Other than that, you guys, I know it's unique circumstances, but enjoy your weekend. Be thankful for what we have, and just be ready. Be checking your announcements and your emails regularly. Take it easy.